I've said it before and I'll say it again. I get my inspiration not from real estate coaches. I get it from watching, observing, and paying attention to what the best business owners are doing out there, and from a lot of books, a lot of business books. So there's a book called Platform Revolution, right? Platform Revolution, an inside look at the revolutionary business power of the platform from the experts who helped discover how it works. I will do my best to explain how I have applied the principles of the platform revolution and distribution channels to grow my business. The emails that I have been getting from people, I would say 90% of them revolve around Facebook pages, which is kind of weird because people think that if you set up a Facebook page, all of a sudden your business is going to somehow grow. Having a Facebook page is just a small portion of what I'm talking about. There is a lot happening behind the scenes that you guys don't see. And those are the systems that I'm running behind the scenes. But it all comes back to platforms and distribution channels. You're probably not going to get this information from your real estate coach. I've never heard of a real estate coach that's actually given this advice. Like I said, I read books and I see what the successful companies and entrepreneurs are doing, and I try to model, or I try to take what they're doing, not all of it because it doesn't all work, but I'm trying to take what they're doing and seeing, can I apply this to real estate? If the answer is yes, I try it, and I go through a lot of trial and error, and that's what marketing is about. That's what running a business is about. That's what constant and never-ending improvement is all about. You have to try, you have to test, you have to gauge, you get feedback. If it doesn't work, you try something else, but that's running a business. You have to understand the concept first. You're running a business, and second of all, you have to constantly improve that business. So let's go to the whiteboard. I can really get carried away just talking about this, but I'm here to do a specific topic. Platforms and distribution channels. Let's get to it. I'll be right back. Now that's better. First concept you must understand is we are playing the long game, right? There's the short game and there's the long game. Long game, short game. So what does the short game look like? Cold calling, door knocking, pretty much all the old school things that we could have done back in the 80s. Short game is like a slot machine. You put money in, you pull the lever, you either win or you lose. That's why I put cold calling up there, because you pick up the phone, you can get somebody on the phone, or you don't. Short game has a shelf life, and it has a very small shelf life. So the best way I can describe the short game is slot machine. What is my definition of the long game? Accumulative. I hope I spelled that correctly. So what is accumulative? Accumulative is when you can stack one thing on top of another and you accumulate things. So it's like, it's winter out there, it's snowing right now, so it's like starting up a snowball. And the more you roll that snowball, the bigger the snowball gets. So if you walk away from that snowball and forget about it for a few days, you can come back to it and you can continue accumulating that snowball. It's like putting up videos on YouTube, where you put out a video and it has a shelf life forever. Does cold calling have a shelf life? As soon as you hang up the phone, that's it. It's not accumulative. As soon as you stop door knocking, that's it. It's not accumulative. That's playing the short game. Where the long game, you do a little bit each day and it accumulates to be one big thing. Does that make sense? That's why video is accumulative. So what does that have to do with platforms and distribution channels? Well, platforms and distribution channels are based on playing the long game, not the short game. I sometimes wonder about these massive teams, 15 to 20 agents, and they all pick a street and they start to cold call. Now, if you're one of those agents that has maybe success today in cold calling, my question is, can you constantly, every day, pick up that phone, pick a street, and continue to harass people? I'm sure you can do that for a certain period of time, but what you're doing is you're actually playing the short game. If you get sick for 6 or 7 or 12 months, you can't pick up that phone. You can't go out there to actively get business. That's playing the short game. If you were to play the long game, because it's accumulative, you could still generate business. Does that make sense? And you play the long game by utilizing platforms and distribution channels. Let's go back to the whiteboard. Let's look at platforms first. What is a platform? A platform is something that connects people that create products or services with the people that need to purchase the product or services, right? So you've got a platform. It's almost like a stage. Platform. Stage. Kind of makes sense, right? That's my version of me, standing on a platform. On that side of the platform, we have buyers. And on the other side, we have sellers. I'm not referring to home buyers and home sellers. I'm talking about buyers of a product or service, and on the other side, sellers of a product or service. Let me give you some examples. My microphone fell off. There's my microphone. Can you see that? My microphone fell off. Let me just put it back on. Gotta love technology, right? Okay. We're good? You good? I'm good. Hang with me for a second here. Okay, examples of a platform. Facebook is a platform. You have on one side content producers and on the other side consumers, right? PayPal is also a platform where you have on one side of this platform, let's call it a store or somebody that sells product or services, and on the other side people that want to buy it, and they use PayPal as a platform to make that transaction happen, to exchange money. So that's a platform. Alibaba is also a platform. You have people that sell the products on Alibaba and you have consumers, people that want to buy the product. With Amazon, Craigslist, does that make sense? Uber is also a platform. Now their platform is an app. On one side, you have people that need a ride. On the other side, you have people driving cars providing the ride. But the platform in the middle is what connects the buyers and the sellers, right? The providers and the consumer. Airbnb is another great example. So I hope that's making some sense. Realtor.com, Realtor.ca, Zillow, they're all platforms as well. So you may be asking, how do you use a platform in real estate? And you can use it, and that's part of thinking like a business owner. To put yourself on a platform so you can connect yourself with potential buyers and sellers, but also other people that aren't buying and selling. And that goes back to being a digital mayor. So go back and watch my videos, because as these videos go on, you'll be able to understand more and more. If you start at video, whatever this is, 11, but you've never watched the first ones, you may be lost. So it's almost like reading a novel, go back to the beginning. So in order to be a good digital mayor, you have to utilize a platform, just like a regular mayor of any city. Let's focus on this platform. So a platform, the way I'm using a platform is I have a website that anybody in my city can visit for information. On that website, I also connect what I'm selling, which is my services of being a real estate agent to help people buy and sell, and the consumers, people that want my services. So I use my website, my www, as a platform in the city to connect myself with the people. Does that make sense? It's accumulative. There are blog posts on there. They're not just about real estate. So that brings me to the distribution channel. So My platform, which is the website, now needs distribution channels to pump out my content so the people in my city understand what I'm doing, right? So let me ask you a question about distribution channels. Take Starbucks, for example. If I were to ask you, no, I am asking you, what business is Starbucks in? I would have in the past said they are in the business of selling coffee. If you were to ask, or if I were to ask, what business is McDonald's in, I would have perhaps said, well, they're in the business of selling hamburgers and cheeseburgers. However, if you look behind what they're doing, they're actually in the business of distribution. So for example, if coffee beans were to be eliminated from this planet and coffee beans were no longer able to grow on this earth, would Starbucks go under? If Starbucks is a smart company, which I believe they are, they would not go out of business because they can use their distribution channel for anything. So their distribution channels are all the different stores. However, if coffee disappeared off the face of this earth, they can sell anything else in that store. It could be tea, for example. Right now, tea is a small portion of what they sell. But if they couldn't sell coffee, I highly doubt they would shut down all the stores and say, well, there's no more coffee, I guess we're going under. No, my guess is they would use their distribution channels, which are the individual stores, to sell something else. Does that make sense? Look at McDonald's, for example. You would think they're in the business of selling hamburgers and cheeseburgers and Big Macs. If there was a huge crisis on earth and cows no longer roamed the earth, would McDonald's go under? If McDonald's was smart, which I believe they are an extremely smart, brilliant company, they would sell something else. Look at the history of McDonald's. They started off selling what? Hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, and Coke? But look where they have come over the years. They started selling wraps. They started selling breakfast. They started selling Big Macs, quarter pounders. Every few months, it seems like they're putting out a new hamburger of some sort or a different wrap. But that goes to show you, if you were to actually pay attention to what's happening, you would see that McDonald's or any fast food franchise or Starbucks, they are utilizing their distribution channel to really sell anything. So how can we use that in our real estate business? Well, a distribution channel could be an email, it could be a podcast, it could be writing a blog post. Those are different distribution channels that we can utilize on our platform. So I have created my own platform where I can communicate with people in my city, essentially. People will continue to buy and sell homes. The question is, how do they go about buying and selling homes? If McDonald's were to go under, would that mean you would stop eating? I highly, highly doubt that. If Starbucks were to go under, would that mean that I would stop drinking coffee? No, I would go somewhere else for coffee. That's the same thing with real estate industry and real estate agents. We have to constantly evolve. We have to constantly improve because buyers will buy, sellers will sell regardless of whether you or I are there to help them or not. The big game of today, 2017 and beyond, is to have that platform that people go to. I'm a huge believer in that. I've been running my own platform for the past few years and it works for me. I generate daily leads. I'm not picking a street and cold calling. I've never door knocked in my life, like ever. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, if you want to go out there and play the short game, by all means. I'm just telling you, me personally, I've never knocked on the door and said, are you interested in selling your home? That's just not me. It just feels kind of weird. I want to go out there and provide value to people so they can see that, hey, you know what? This guy's providing value. I'm going to contact him for more real estate information. And I utilize platforms and distribution channels. And what I see on Facebook often is all these coaches and a lot of trainers, they say, well, you have to go back to basics. I think we're getting ridiculous with all this social media and technology. Go back to basics. Pick up the phone and start cold calling. So they're telling you to go back to playing the short game. And that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, because can you imagine going up to McDonald's and saying, go back to the basics. Go back to selling hamburgers, cheeseburgers, Coke, and French fries. Go back to what you started doing on day one. I think they would be out of business extremely, extremely fast. It is no longer acceptable to go back to the basics, because the basics, let's face it, it's old school 1970s, 1980s mentality of selling homes. The short game won't work anymore. Yes, you can still pick up the phone and cold call, but I'm willing to bet after a few days of that or a few weeks of that, you're thinking to yourself, this is nuts. Yes, I am finding sellers that want to sell, but how much longer can I continue to pick up that phone? And I see people on Facebook and they will have arguments with each other. And they will say, no, cold calling works and it's awesome. And I truly believe, yes, it could work. But I think these people, they're just protecting their own egos, because if somebody disses, these are my air quotes, if somebody disses what you do, you're going to go out there and you're going to protect yourself, right? Cold calling sucks. Can it generate business? It can. I'm not saying it can't. But the big question is, can you sustain that? Can you sustain that short game over and over and over? Can you sustain pulling that lever? Because that's essentially what you're doing. It's non-accumulative, because if you don't pick up that phone, you will not find your next meal, if that makes sense. So that's why I believe in the long game. I believe in creating a platform, distribution channels that are accumulative. So you keep building on that. You keep playing the long game. You become the best digital mayor that you possibly can. In the long run, it will end up working, because now you're attracting buyers and sellers, and not like the cheesy way, like, I'm a lead magnet, look at me, I attract money, I am like awesome. Like, I'm not talking about like stuff like that. I'm talking about people that genuinely see you helping them, because you're online, you have a platform that you're sharing information, content with your community, and it's accumulative and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. People will notice you. My only regret is I didn't start this like years and years and years ago. So that's the only regret that I have. Go read the book Platform Revolution, and think outside the box, because remember, this business is all about constant and never-ending improvement. It's not about the lines or the objection handling. You're running a business. You're not there to force buyers and sellers into doing something they don't want to do. You want to attract quality clients through platforms and distribution channels. I hope that made some sense. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Peace out. Peace out. Out. Peace out. Platforms and distribution channels. Platforms, distribution channels.